Hello, you are listening to the countdown to LG7 with Big Pink Energy, who is me. Maybe you're listening because you're a huge Lady Gaga fan, desperate for news and gossip about her new album. Maybe you feel like you have to listen because you're my friend, and it would be kind of embarrassing for me if this podcast didn't do very well, although so far we're doing pretty well, I have to say. Or maybe you're here because secretly you're in love with me. I say it every week and I don't think anyone's come forward yet, but who knows, maybe you're out there secretly screaming for me, baby. Anyway, this week's guest is my dear friend Billy. We've been online mutuals, I guess, for like a long time. So really happy to just like, I feel like this podcast has just been an excuse for me to like get to finally talk to people that I've really liked and got along with for years. So we're making it happen this week. So welcome to the podcast, Billy. Hello.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. No, I'm so excited to talk to you. It's so weird to when I went to go see Enigma, my mom and I were walking through a hotel and there was like 12 girls that were standing there and they like all screamed my name and my mom was like, "What is going on?" And now my mom just knows. She's like, "I just have friends online. She's never going to understand. It's fine." So that's what we are. Like we are friends. So lovely to like talk to you.
It's so nice. We find each other. I don't know how we all us
I
like
know.
gay Gaga people all just like seem to sense
Literally.
each other out. Like
Literally.
sixth sense for just like sniffing each other out online, and then we just stay together for years and
It's
years.
so true. It's so true.
Oh dear. Are you doing if we get a tour this year, are you planning on
Mm.
doing like any tour dates?
Of course, of course. For Chromatica, I went to like a neighboring state. I went to Atlanta. So,
Uh-huh.
And for Joanne, I mean, so I live in North Carolina. Gaga
Okay.
hasn't been here since 2010. So
Wow.
I have to travel. I would love this time too with friends because last time it was on my own coin and I would love to to split it with someone. But
Yeah.
yes, definitely, of course. I also have this sneaking fear that after every pop album now, I'm gonna be like, this is the last one. I have to go for it.
I swear this is like the mindset we have as Gaga fans. I don't know if we're just like traumatized from like several tours being cancelled, but we're always just like,
I
this is going
know.
to be the last time she does this, and then she's going to retire and have babies. So
Literally.
that was like the mindset when we all went to the Chromatica ball, I feel. And now we're like, oh no, she's back.
Literally. Exactly.
Yeah, because obviously I'm coming to the States for Coachella.
I know. Oh
But it's
my
far for
God.
you, isn't it? North Carolina is like,
Yes, it is. Well, when I saw Joanne, I saw it in California, and then like my
oh,
family made a
really?
trip of it. But again, I don't know if I'm willing to do that just for myself right now. I'm a working
Yeah.
man.
And you want to make the money go further. Like it's one thing to just
Exactly.
like go to like as many shows as possible, but you kind of have to weigh up, don't you? It's like, well, would I rather get like the best ticket and only do like one or maybe two shows, or do I want to just be at like every single show and you don't care if you're like right in the
Right.
back?
I'm so excited for you though, because Coachella 2017 was like one of the most fun nights ever to be like a Gaga stan.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I'm so excited for you. And I know your looks are gonna be so good. Oh, I'm so
Thank
excited.
you. I literally just started making this week some of my outfits. Like these gloves are actually part of one of my Coachella looks, but I haven't really decided. No, I have. That's a lie. I've decided exactly what I'm going to do, but yeah, I'm. I'm just being really slow. So I feel like this week I've really got to like get into gear and yeah, like properly start making
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, no, Coachella's going to be amazing, and I feel like if she was that incredible at Coachella last time, when we know she was like
It was
decided
like
to do the
two
set last
weeks,
minute, yeah,
right? Crazy. And it was so good.
it was so good. But she was like literally filming A Star Is Born. This is the thing, people are always like, oh, you
Literally.
know, it was a last minute set because she was filling in for Beyonce. Yeah, not just that, she was actually starring in the lead role of a movie at the
Mm-hmm.
same time.
Mm-hmm.
Our girl was
So
like back
true.
to backing projects and fitting
I
everything
know.
in. So yeah, I feel like this time, because she has actual time to prepare and she
Oh,
seems just like so renewed in her energy, I feel like this Coachella is going to be so
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Literally, my whole thought about like everything happening this week is like renewed and like refined.
Yeah.
Is like what like this is exactly what's happening for her right now.
Yeah, I feel like as well, I'm seeing so many comments about like, and we will talk properly about Abracadabra, but like I'm seeing so many comments that are things that are like, you know, obviously there's the whole reheating of the nachos conversation. There's
Yes.
everyone's saying it's like, oh, she's gone back to her old sound and all of this, but I don't know if I'm just overanalyzing or if I'm just not maybe thinking the same way. But for me, this isn't like a reheated Nacho moment. It's a renewed. It's like a. I think I said this a few episodes ago. I was like, it's like a Pokemon evolution where like, you know, the Fame and Born This Way was Gaga at like a certain phase, and then what we have now is just like a completely, what's the word? It's like
Like a rebirth, like,
yeah, but but
but
like with something extra on
renewed.
top.
It's totally.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Like, I, I first of all, we came prepared. I have like a whole like my thoughts. I was like, I have to make sure I get everything in here. Okay, so during like Joker 2 press,
yeah,
there was a question. I think it was like from like Jake's takes, and he was like, when did you create a persona to kind of fall into, to like, and she said, you know, when I was a kid, something bad happened to me, and I would assume she was like referencing her assault. Um, and she said that she retreated into fantasy to kind of create like a life for her that she wanted.
yeah,
And for right now, I'm like, the only way she could be reheating her nachos successfully, if that's what we're going by, is like kind of embracing this is fantastical and it is like a fantasy, but at the same time, it feels so her that she's not retreating into
yeah,
something. And in fact, with the visual too, I think she's up against herself.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I think this is the conversation that she's been kind of having with herself and with us for her whole career. There's two things going on here, right? There's the one thing that's like, who is Lady Gaga? Is that a persona? Is that the real me? You know, we as fans have always understood that is the real her. I think I talked about this a little bit with when I had Liv Marks on the podcast as well. People that aren't us sometimes can't really wrap their heads around Lady Gaga being like a superhero and like armor, but not being like putting the costume away at the end of the night and then she goes home and she's Stephanie. Like we've always understood
Mm-hmm.
she is Stephanie and she is Lady Gaga at the same time. They're the same. You know, it is still like a character she created, but it's not a character that she's pretending to be and then she hangs it up at the end of the night. Like that is truly, truly who she is through and through. And that's how she expresses herself is through Lady Gaga. So that's one side. The other, I think, is this conversation that she's been having again with us and through her music. She's been kind of saying, what is reality and what is fantasy? And where do I sit in that? And I think she first said it explicitly during like the Born This Way promo cycle, where she obviously
Mm-hmm.
used to say all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like, Born This Way is living halfway through reality and fantasy at all times. But I really feel like that theme has been so consistent through all of her albums. And I think I might have already said
Totally.
this in a previous episode, but it's worth bringing this conversation up again because for me, it feels so relevant. You know, you had the Fame, which was Gaga manifesting being famous, and then she became famous. So she was living in a fantasy until it became her reality. So that's where it started. And then we go into the Fame Monster, where it's like, okay, this fantasy I created maybe isn't as wonderful and lovely and amazing as I thought it was because there's some darker stuff here. Darker stuff that maybe she created the fantasy to run away from in her actual reality that's kind of caught up with her now that she's achieved fame. Then we had Born This Way, which again was like, we had the Born This Way video where she had that fantasy planet, mother goat, and all of that stuff going on. But that was still very much like a commentary on what was happening in reality around gay rights. And then from
Mm-hmm.
Born This Way went into art pop. And for me, art pop was so much around escapism, you know, using substances or partying or whatever it was to kind of escape that dark reality side of things. Joanne felt the most grounded in reality for me out of all of the albums, but I still think there is an element of fantasy there because, you know, she was, she is Joanne, but she was calling herself Joanne, and that's not her name. It's her middle name.
Exactly. It was a little. It was a little bit of a
There was a
caricature.
bit of a character going on.
It was like it was a
Yes,
caricature, maybe not a caricature. Yes,
exactly.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, there was still some themes of like what is the reality here and what is fantasy, and like that was still
Mm-hmm.
consistent. Even though for me, like Joanne being her least metaphorical album, it still felt grounded in fantasy in some way. And then I think Chromatica was
Totally.
the most obvious of that distinction between reality and fantasy, where it was like, I've got dark stuff that's happened to me in my reality, so I've created a mental place I go to deal with that, and it's called Chromatica, but the dark stuff from my reality has followed me there. And sometimes there's fun kind of stuff there and it sounds like a party, but actually underneath, when you like listen to the lyrics, there's actually some real pain in there. And it's like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you deal with that? How do you make something beautiful out of all of this darkness and all of this pain? You know, like Rain on Me is basically that message in a song. So I feel like Mayhem is going to continue that story of Gaga deciding what her reality is and deciding where the fantasy ends and where reality begins. And I feel like she's just carrying on telling the story that she's been telling since the beginning of her career. It's just she as a person
Totally.
has gone through so much through becoming a megastar and, you know, finding
Mm-hmm.
love and all of this stuff that's happened in her life while we've known her, that she's telling the same story, but each time it's just from a different perspective because she's telling that story
Totally.
at a different point in her life each time. So that's what I think Mayhem seems like it's going to be about. I would say the Disease video feels like it's in line with that message, Abracadabra as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously we haven't heard the rest of the album yet, but I think for me it's quite clearly the world she's building and the story she's telling is quite consistent with what we've seen so far. But that was a long rant,
Totally.
but
No, but it's so interesting because like just like you were saying, like this whole like reheating her own nachos is like literally going viral right now, and she's
yeah,
behind this movement, and it's like, to be fair though, like I think one of my things is that I wrote down was she's definitely nailing down a signature sound for herself right now, which
yeah,
is like, it's obviously things that are here that are present everywhere in her discography are theatrical vocals, like
yeah,
like using her own name in a song,
yeah,
and like while that hasn't been super prevalent in a while, we got Plastic Doll, like she says Malibu Gaga and that, but in this way, like interpolating her own name into like a rhythm or like a certain cadence,
yeah.
um and also with that, like the gibberishness, which is actually just like the breaking down of a singular word and kind of like making a repetitious earworm. These are
Mm-hmm.
all things that like are signature her.
Yeah,
And I think that it's not even like a throwback, because again, it's like she's at this place where I don't think she could have done this prior to fully accepting herself.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
So, and it's also like this song doesn't necessarily sound like a song that she's released before. I think there are hints. Like, I think that the house keys are very like Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the industrial bassy like intro is very like Born This Way album adjacent. But all this together, again, I'm like, I don't know if this is really like Bloody Mary doesn't sound like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like Just Dance doesn't sound like this. Like, I don't know. It feels like it's 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 taking hints, but at the same time, I'm thinking for the first time, like this is honestly her respecting her own impact, for because she's so humble. It's like,
yeah,
even if we get into like that necklace she's wearing, where it's, did you see that, where it's in her own face?
yeah.
Which I'm like,
Insane detail,
she,
by the way.
right, I know, insane. But like, she never would have done that even a couple years ago, in my opinion. I don't think she would have
Yeah.
done that. I think right now she's at a place where she's like, I'm now a grown woman. I'm going to be looking towards my future. I can finally accept like where I was. And
Mm-hmm.
even, and I think with the album cover being, a broken mirror and her returning to this sound and saying that that's what she was fearing, I think that this is all like embracing your past self, mistakes and all, and still being like, I can still be a beautiful person,
Yeah.
even if I'm referencing things from my past where I necessarily wasn't a beautiful, like the most beautiful version of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think you've absolutely hit it on the head there. And I think I said this when Disease came out as well. It's like she could not have made this song 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, just because it has elements that feel like similar to things she's done before, or like things, as you say, that are her signature kind of little moments that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
fans, we recognize things she's done
Yeah.
before or things she's pulled from, references she's made. She might still be kind of taking inspiration from that, but she couldn't make Disease 6 years ago. She couldn't make Abracadabra 8 years ago. I don't see it personally. I see this as like a very new phase. It does feel defined to me. I think even though, as you say, there's elements that sound like the song could be on Born This Way or the song could be on The Fame Monster, I personally don't think they could be, because they just feel like a very renewed, evolved version of what she was doing before. But that's so interesting. I really didn't think of that before, what you were saying about her like accepting her own legacy and being like, yeah, I actually am the shit, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna act like it. I
Yeah.
think I hadn't made that connection before, but I think that's actually making a lot of sense. I don't know if you remember, like, she was really obsessed with that TikTok sound that was like, what was it? That it was like a voiceover of some girl saying like, when you go on Pinterest and you look for like an
Oh,
aesthetic, but I am the aesthetic.
right. And she was like, you can find me on Pinterest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like, you know, that kind of confidence of actually, yeah, I have had a massive impact. You don't search on Pinterest for, you know, like cottage core. You look for Lady Gaga aesthetic because
Right,
she is the
right,
aesthetic.
right,
So
right.
yeah, that's that's so interesting. And yeah, even like you say, the details in the jewelry of having like, for those of you listening who haven't maybe picked up on that detail, in the Abracadabra video, she wears a crucifix, and the crucifix is actually made out of moldings of her own face. Um, just iconic. I even dug this out for
Incredible.
today. Do you remember this? This merch
Oh
from like,
my God. That is so, wow.
I know.
Uh, that is so incredible. I'm obsessed.
I was getting ready and I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if I had like a crucifix necklace like Gaga does in the video. And I was like, wait, I
That's
know I have
incredible.
this somewhere. And I found it and I was like, yes, I've got to wear it today.
The other day, I was like cleaning my shelf and I found like the Fame Monster like USB stick. And I was like, who, like, I don't know. That's just like, it's so incredible. It's like so nostalgic. But I was like, wow, I really was like 10 years old being like, you know what? I do need that. And it's like, now I'm 24 and I'm like, yes, I do. And I'm glad I have it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the one thing I always really wanted that I didn't get, that I still to
What?
this day regret not getting, is that Fame Monster book that came with like the 3D glasses and the lock of hair. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they're on eBay and I just think, come on, like be serious, you don't need it. But I still think about it.
I'm embarrassed because when I was 21, I got a raise and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? And I spent not I spent $200 on one of
Oh
those
my
like
God.
super deluxe books because I was like,
Yeah,
this is something I've always wanted. I'm just going to get it just to have it. And it isn't like the outer, like actual, like outside isn't even in perfect condition. I'm like, I don't care. This is like a piece of history. Like,
exactly.
I need this for me, for childhood me.
Yeah, treat yourself.
Yeah.
It's history.
She's doing great chart wise. I'm like, she could be debuting at Under the Bubbling Heart. I don't care. I don't give a fuck
Absolutely.
about any sort of like chart anything. She's been giving me every single thing I want since last quarter last year. I'm on like
Yeah.
cloud nine. Like I don't care.
Honestly, I could not agree with you more. Like, and I don't know if I said this already in a different episode, but like, if Mayhem doesn't perform well, I don't care, because I think we're getting the
Yeah,
best music of her career. Like,
totally,
from what we've seen
totally.
so far, honestly, I think she's actually giving us the best music that she's ever made.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So if we're not breaking records, I don't care. She's done that already years ago. Why does she need to do it again? If she does, which she is, breaking
She
records
is,
again,
which is the crazy part.
which she is. It's lovely and it's great, it's
Yeah,
nice, but it's also kind of like, well, we always knew that Gaga was cool. We always knew that
exactly.
like she was incredibly talented. I don't really need the validation as a fan of like a number one or an
Totally.
award or whatever else it is, because one, Gaga has plenty of those and you
Mm-hmm.
know they go to her collection, they don't affect my life whatsoever. But secondly, we're just here, I'm just glad we're here for another album, and you know she's
Totally.
happy and
Yes.
confident in the music she's making and the music is good. Like, Disease brought me to tears when I heard it, and
Oh,
that's insane.
trust me, I know. You know I'm subscribed. You know I get the notifications.
I mean, grown adult women crying at a Lady Gaga song. Yeah, that's me. That's fine.
Grown adult men crying at a Lady Gaga song in my friend's apartment on the floor. So
We see each other.
we see, yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, you're so right. I mean, like, honestly, it's amazing that she is breaking these records, and the success of Abracadabra so far is not shocking, but I am surprised by it just
Same,
because I
yeah.
feel like Disease for me was the more impactful song, which I've seen like a lot of people have mixed opinions about this. Is like some people gravitated more towards Disease, but it feels like the majority of people have kind of gravitated more towards Abracadabra. I love Abracadabra. I think it's an incredible song, but for me, Disease was like pushing a boundary. Disease felt like the first time hearing Disease felt like the first time I heard Bad Romance in terms of just like
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
like
Totally.
I am in for a treat here. Like this is major. Like that felt like a moment for me when I heard Disease. When I heard Abracadabra, it was a bit of that. It just didn't kind of instantly like hit me in the face as much.
The video and the song coming out simultaneously, that is what got me. And like that is why it's so like over, like it's just incredible.
And I think the video having like such incredible choreography as well. I think that honestly does contribute to why Abracadabra has like taken off so much compared to Disease, because I love the Disease video and I wouldn't change a thing about it, but I won't lie. I would be lying if I said to you I wasn't thinking when I was listening to Disease before the video came out, fuck, I can't wait to see the choreography on this. And then when we didn't get like that big dance group moment that we have got for Abracadabra, I still love the video, don't get me wrong, but I do think that's why it's become so popular, is just like to see Gaga nailing it on the music, nailing it on the choreography, nailing it with the fashion all at once again. I think that again is probably why people are saying like the nachos are being reheated, because she used to give us all of those at once all the time, like the whole Born This Way era. She'd be singing live, incredible fashion, doing full out choreography, doing Judas, and like doing the entire thing, like doing all the ad libs. You know, we were used to that back then. So I guess maybe that's also why people are saying she's reheated the nachos. But
and can I also bring up something that I don't see people talking about, which is that Circuit is like instrumental on this album.
yes.
And I don't know much about Circuit, but from what I do know, you know how like in the Bible, like Adam, like God took like Adam's rib and like created Eve from that?
Yeah.
It felt like Circuit with Past Things was kind of trying to take Gaga's rib and kind of create new things out of that, which which it used to be in the past that I was like, I don't know, this just kind of falls flat for me with other things he was doing. And for this album, I'm like, this feels anatomically correct for like how good for him that like, I'm like, this feels like a whole new level for you from what I've heard from him, granted. But I'm like, how cool for you that you are getting like the full like fantasy of what you like, what I'm sure he wants to be producing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think a huge part of that is that even from everything last year, from Harley Quinn on, all those songs have production credits by Gaga. This whole album, she has production credits. She's been the creative direction from then to here. Like the reason this is doing so well for everyone is because she is in full control of her narrative.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from too, is I think the missing ingredient, not that there was ever a missing ingredient, but if we were to place one, it's right now she's the main director. She's the main, which maybe she's not the main, but she's in the lineup of directors, of producers, of the creative direction. Like this is her full vision.
Yeah. She's in control and she's comfortable.
Totally.
She's very comfortable. We all saw the Rolling Stone video she did around Disease where she's like going through all the stems and she's comfortable.
So good.
She's so self-assured of what's happening. We've seen glimpses of it. We've maybe seen it when she's on stage, but I feel like we don't always see that confidence come through in interviews. Like I always think of Joanne as like okay, this is a different direction, but it's clearly the music she wants to be making. She's clearly happy making this. But then she would do an interview and she'd be crying and she'd be seemingly so unhappy. And then we saw 5'2" and she seemed, again, it was like that conflict of like, well,
Yeah.
this is what she wants to be doing, but is she fully kind of on board? She seems quite, you know,
Mm-hmm.
scattered almost. But
I
I feel
know.
like now seeing her, she just seems so, yeah, confident and self-assured. Back on circuit, did he produce It Girl by Jade from Little Mix?
I'm actually not sure, but I'm obsessed with that song
That
too.
song, for me, I love that song, first of all, incredible.
Say, I do too. Oh, this Jade album, my like girlfriends and I, we're like, this is gonna be one of our favorite albums of this year.
Yes,
Like every single song that comes out, we're obsessed.
yes,
Angel of My Dreams was like my friends and I's song of last year,
so
and
good.
Aquamarine.
Yeah,
Yes,
so good. I have a
so
feeling,
good.
I don't know if it's circuit, but I really do think at least one of the producers on that song is also one of the
Mm-hmm.
ones that's heavily involved in Mayhem. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
That makes total
actually,
sense to me.
it does, doesn't it? And actually,
Yeah.
when I first heard Abracadabra, it did make me think of It Girl a little bit. Like the beat, something in the beat made
Mm.
me think this is, yeah, it's a similar vibe.
They both have that bass,
Yeah,
that like grinding. Oh, I love it.
so good.
It's so good.
We're really spoiled for music this year. I feel like there's so
I
much.
know it has been well, even like with this past Grammys, which oh my
Yeah,
god, we have to get to because literally there's so much that's happened.
yeah,
But like, what a cool time for like women in music,
yes,
especially. Like,
yeah,
also, I'm sure you too. Like, as a fan of Charlie, like her having this mainstream, like total mainstream moment right now is honestly something that I could have. If I was like, listen, if it didn't happen with Crash, it's not happening
yeah,
now because like that was literally like her sellout era,
yeah.
and for her to be like totally her and be rewarded for it, and this is the same thing happening with Gaga. I'm like, wow, what a huge moment for women in music.
Truly, it's so inspiring. Like
Totally,
the talent at the minute is just brilliant. It's, you know, it's a good Grammys where it's like any of these girls could win and it feels
totally.
justified.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, least amount of fighting I've seen on the timeline based on Grammys. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like Beyonce did deserve an Album of the Year win, and especially like, but this is totally besides the point. But I love Beyonce too. So
Yeah, me too. I love Beyonce. I would have preferred it for Renaissance, but it's fine.
no, no, listen. Look at the way we're dressed. We're talking about like bass and like techno, like synths. Like we wanted it for Renaissance, okay?
Renaissance, honestly, like yeah, that would have been so good. Renaissance was
I know.
even just the tour. Okay, let's not go into this because we could talk about
Because
Beyonce
we
for
can't
like
because I would talk about it forever because I went to that tour too and we're already half an hour in, like we can't do this.
we've got to stay
We
focused.
do.
Okay, let's talk about the Grammys then,
Yes.
because obviously we had that double punch of like, well, triple punch, I guess, of the
She loves a double
performance.
feature right now, which
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with.
she's loving a double feature. We had obviously her
Mhm.
performance. We then had the Abracadabra music video, and we also got an award win, which is just like gorgeous.
Mhm.
Let's start at the beginning. Her red carpet look,
Mhm. So good.
so good.
I'm obsessed with the black hair this era. I love it. Also, I'm like too like if we're talking about a return to form, when has she's never like had a black hair moment other than like early art pop era, but even with that it was very like it was toned down from what it is now. Like
And it was short lived.
totally because that era was so many things
Mm,
and just kept getting reinvented as the time went on. I'm loving this like the little bangs on the side.
yeah.
Love. I also loved the stockings,
Yes.
and I love that she's like that's a continuous thing right now. It's
Yeah.
like getting me think about tour looks.
Just every red carpet photo I saw of her from that night looked incredible. Like there wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
bad angle, there wasn't a bad image. She just looked 10 out of 10. And
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
so good.
perfect. I loved it. And then the performance, I thought California Dreams was such a beautiful song choice and controversial. I'm so glad the Earth Song rumors were not true.
Oh well, first of all, my first thought upon them starting that song, I was like, Wow, this is never a song that I thought would be like a dream song for her to sing until literally it's happening right now. Like
Yeah.
this is gorgeous. It was incredible.
Yeah, like you say, it's a song you wouldn't have ever thought you would hear her covering, but
Hmm.
then when you hear it, you're like, oh, I didn't know how much I wanted this, actually. This is so
Hmm.
good.
Yeah,
And Bruno
totally.
sounded great as well. They both sound great
Oh
together.
yeah. I know. I'm so happy for them, and I don't know. I feel like this is about to be her next Tony in terms of like
Yeah,
a repeated collaborator,
I hope so.
and I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen.
I could really see them doing an EP or a Christmas EP
Yes,
together. That would
totally,
be
totally.
amazing. Like, imagine Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars at Christmas EP, and there's like maybe 5
Both
covers.
finding people that match their heights.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I love that. Yeah, I could see a Christmas EP. I could also see like
Yes.
if Gaga is like having kids after Mayhem is kind of wrapped up, I could see her being the kind of like, if he's doing a Vegas performance, she pops out and does a surprise performance
Yeah.
with him,
Oh.
like, you know, so she can still perform and kind of, even if she's like settled down with a family. I always see her being a performer even after she has kids personally, but
Oh yeah.
I could see her doing something like that, or like yeah, just smaller kind of projects with him. I think they both
Hmm.
really, yeah, enjoy collaborating, so I would be here
Oh
for
yeah.
more.
Clearly.
And then obviously the Abracadabra video and song just
Uh,
came out.
so like we were aware that it was like a MasterCard,
Yeah,
like what's the word I'm looking for?
partnership.
Collaboration. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever. So you were watching them live, I would assume.
I went to bed.
Okay, so that was my question. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So I was like that because the time zones here, I was like it could go either way. Like you could be like I need my beauty sleep
Hmm.
or I need to like be on time with this.
Yeah,
Okay, so then I'll tell you from someone who is like watching it live.
tell me.
I was literally like waiting for that MasterCard intro. I was sitting on my friend Izzy's couch and we were just like sitting and we were watching and I was like, I just want you to know I will be watching the commercial. I had to prepare her. I was like, listen, you have never seen me upon a new Gaga song or video coming out at the same time and we're getting both right now. I'm scared for who I'm about to be. I'm just letting you know. I'm so sorry. And she was like, it's fine. We went to sweat tour together. We were like going crazy. Like she
Good.
was like, we're good.
She gets it.
We've seen this. We get it.
Yeah.
Literally, that MasterCard logo came up, and I was like, hold on. I was like, hold on, hold everything. And obviously, that incredible intro already already sold. I was crouched on the floor, like in front of the TV. Like something overcame my body. I was like, I can't be sitting still right now. I have to get up and like and take this in. It was incredible, like
Yeah.
crazy.
So good.
So did you like wake up and it was out?
Yeah, I wanted to I knew I wanted to do a reaction video, so I whenever this
Yeah.
happens, whenever Gaga does anything and I do a reaction video now, I have to
Yeah.
like get up, instantly get like ready and presentable,
Yeah.
try and stay off my phone, and like quickly film before I have to start work. So
Hmm.
it's always a bit like, gonna get it done quick. And then it's like,
Mayhem.
that it is mayhem. It is literally mayhem. And then it's like, well, if I don't do it before I start work, then it means I can't go on my phone all day because I'll get spoiled. And then it also means like I'll be
Yep.
late putting the content out, and like everyone's like looking for. I even had, you know what? I did it as soon as I woke up, and I had it posted within like an hour or two. And even still, I had people going like, "Where was your reaction video? I've been waiting for
Oh
it."
my
I'm
god,
like,
the demand. Okay. The grand high pinkness
I
herself.
know.
I love it.
So I was like, oh my god, I've got to be quicker on this. I don't know. I feel like I'm in my late 20s now. If I was like still kind of early 20s, I'd probably be staying up. I used to stay up for this stuff when I was like a teenager, but we're getting old. We have jobs. You can't always do it.
I know, yeah, you're gonna be in the desert in Coachella and I'm gonna be in my room at 2 a.m. Like
I'll call
that's
you.
what's gonna be happening.
Oh god, yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. And you know, the other thing I thought was really smart, I think pre-release everyone was like, this is such a bad idea. Who releases a music video and a song on a Sunday? It's not a full tracking week. Like Bobby's like messed up the promotion again. Everyone's just complaining, as everyone.
Oh my God, I literally just snorted. That's so embarrassing. It's just like, it's so funny to talk to someone who like gets it.
Yeah, we see each other. But like, you know, you see all these people complaining. It's always the same people every time. It's like, you know, Bobby's fucked it up. Like, great. We've got another, it's gonna flop. It's like barely gonna make chart impact. First of all, like we already said, who gives a fuck? But secondly,
and who gives a fuck? And also, she's like literally like the #1 song in the world right now. So who cares? Who really gives a fuck?
All of those people have been quiet since
exactly.
It's come out. It's been silent. Yeah. It's been radio silence. And I think actually having the debut in the Grammy commercials was so smart, because now she gets like a bigger platform. Everybody is tuning in for the current pop girls. So you've got Charlie fans, Chappell Roan fans, Sabrina Carpenter fans, Beyonce fans, Billie Eilish fans, Olivia Rodrigo, like all of Gaga's like kind of similar audience and interest people are already tuned into the Grammys. So to have like the music video debut there, of course it makes sense. Like,
of course,
who cares that we missed out on like 2 days of tracking? It's the #1 song in the world, or #2 song in the world.
Clearly it's not going to impact it that much.
Exactly.
Because it's doing incredible.
It's doing insanely well. And I can't say too much. Well, I probably can, but I'm going to keep it to myself just a little bit. But the label is clearly planning to do some more promotion. I may or may not be filming something next week.
Oh my gosh, exciting! Okay, well, they clearly know what they're doing if they're coming to you. Let me just say that.
What I'm doing is really, really small, but just the fact that they're even looking at like getting creators to do stuff makes me think like they're not stopping anytime soon with Abracadabra. It feels like they're really rallying around it. So yeah, work.
Also, any of the people complaining about the album being delayed, we get this like as a full-fledged moment.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it got delayed, because we now have the rest of the month to kind of revel in this moment. And she does too. Because also the current theme right now is she's the one blocking herself.
Yeah, my biggest enemy is me.
Like, exactly. So it's like, clearly this was the right move, was to delay everything and, you know, like to give everything its own dedicated moment.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? This really does spark joy for me, because I think the one thing that I was a little bit upset about with the Chromatica era, and I'm a Chromatica stan, like you cannot get me to say a negative thing about Chromatica.
Oh, no, same.
That album was sensational for me and I stand by that. But like the one thing that did disappoint me was when COVID cancelled all of the plans, is that instead of Gaga pivoting, we just saw her retreat completely. And I get why she felt that way, but I did feel that the Fame era Gaga would have been like, okay, how do I make the best of this? Whereas,
she would have been in her garage making some outfits with a green screen and worked it out.
Exactly. She would have been doing like a live stream in her living room like we saw so many other artists do. But, you know, clearly that's not how she wanted to play it, which is fine. And I actually think longer term, she'll be remembered more favourably for kind of dealing with COVID the way she did. But
totally.
At the same time, I was kind of like, this just does feel different. But I feel like this time...
Totally.
She's, you know, clearly they had plans initially for Mayhem to kind of come off the back of the projected success of Joker 2. Joker 2 didn't then have that success. So I think they just pivoted. And I think it's so good to see that, like, that hasn't shaken her confidence. She's clearly still giving us everything we want. It's just, like you say, they pushed the album back by a week or two. If that's what they felt like they needed to do to make sure all of it kind of comes to fruition in the right way, I'm glad they're just being more considered about those choices. And it's working.
I mean, the counter programming from her these past, again, she's the creative director on all of this. She understands what she's doing. She has a song out for, like, I mean, honestly, if I was her, I'd be like, we have Die With A Smile smashing. Now's the time to drop the song that we don't know what it's going to be like. And then for them both to be working at the same time, like, just genius.
So good. It's so good. I'm just happy. Like I say, we've already said the success of the music for us doesn't really change anything, but I
Hmm.
can't lie, it's nice to see. It's very nice to see.
Like you're saying, it's the experience. The fact, like with Chromatica, it was such a world and such a thing that it's like then once the album was dropped, the experience kind of stopped.
Ended, yeah.
And it was picked up a couple times, and ultimately, I think the Chromatica Ball ended better because she had time in between,
Yeah.
and I think that the Chromatica Ball was so refined and like
Yeah.
so mature, and I think that maybe the original concept wouldn't have been. I think we got like a better Chromatica Ball because it had to be postponed,
Hmm.
but with this the experience is not ending at all, and in fact like I think that it's just it's wild to think like Die With A Smile came out in what, August or when?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
just feels like between then there have been small breaks. I mean, even after Disease dropped, I was like, where are we going with this? But now that everything's kind of like coming to a head, I'm like, this is clearly like an experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, that's the early Gaga thing. Every era being its own thing is so her,
Mm.
and like creating an experience out of things like during art pop it was like the live streams, right? It was like the art rave, her being in clubs like for like the applause video, and then it's like seeing the fans recording of that becoming like to the fruition, and
Yeah.
all of that. Right now the experience is just like, again, the song could be flopping and I don't care because we're getting behind the scenes footage for the first time in
Yeah.
who knows how long.
Yeah.
We're getting like her interacting with the fans like this
Yeah.
for the first time in forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild.
It's crazy. We're so back, but in like an even better way than before.
Exactly. Yes. If the nachos are being eaten again, it's because of like my thing is like the fan interaction
Yeah,
is the and we're eating it up.
absolutely. It's delicious. We finish every time.
Exactly, exactly.
Also, on my list for us to discuss, I
Hmm.
think today possibly we're going to see the surprise performance she recorded.
Oh yeah,
Is that
that's
a Super Bowl
right.
Sunday? Is it Super Bowl Sunday today?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, clearly I have my priorities in a different place.
I'm just here like the other side of the pond. Like, is that what you guys are up to today?
Is that what the Americans are up to? I'm sure you've been asking that a lot recently.
Yeah. What are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, no, literally, I'm here, and I'm like, you guys, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, crazy times. But yeah, we should see. I think she's recorded Hold My Hand.
I expected Die With A Smile, but I mean, I don't care. Like, clearly, this like any content, I'm like, yes, I'll take
Yeah.
it. And I like Hold My Hand.
Yeah, I like Hold My Hand. And I think again, the usual people are complaining that it's like not a Abracadabra performance. And she's doing
Oh my
another
god, it's
tribute. I just think, look, this stuff, whether you guys kind of think it does or doesn't, this stuff is still very positive for like Gaga's image and her standing. So
yeah,
even if she's not performing her brand new single, it still helps with the general kind of people buying into who she is as an artist. I think people underestimate what a statement that makes. It's not until you
hmm,
go into like a space that isn't just like hardcore fans. So if you go onto like Reddit, for example, and instead of being in like the Lady Gaga subreddit, if you just go to like a generic one, like the generic music subreddit,
yeah,
these things like really resonate with people of like just doing good deeds. And because Gaga is genuinely like does her best to be a good person,
hmm,
she's always going to have like positive press of doing these things. And I think like
totally.
whether it all it means is that when she does have next a big moment where she is performing her song, those people that maybe aren't hardcore die-hard fans are going to still be engaging because they saw this positive thing she did a few weeks ago. It's basics of PR, but like just trust the house, just trust Bobby.
Trust the
It's fine.
process.
Yeah, trust the process, trust
I mean,
Gaga.
that's truly been this era.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
And with that too, she told us years ago she's not doing it for the fame anymore. She's doing it for the impact.
Yep.
And I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the thing is, too, she's doing it for the impact, and she's still getting the fame because she has the number one and two songs. So can we all just calm down?
I said it last time, but Megan Thee Stallion said it best when she was like, shut up and enjoy the music.
Yep, totally.
What else is on my list to discuss? I found something very interesting in the T's and C's of this MasterCard competition. So obviously for Abracadabra, they're running a competition. If you're in the US, you can post a video of you doing the choreography, and they might put you in like a fan version of the music video. It all sounds very cool.
Mm-hmm.
People were looking at the prizes for this, and they found that it said you win access to Club Mayhem and a meet and greet, possibly. I did a little bit of digging in the terms and conditions because I think people assumed this was talking about a tour. It seems to be Club Mayhem is actually going to be album listening parties or launch events. There's going to be two. So there's going to be one in LA and one in New York. And that's what I found from digging in the terms and conditions.
Little detective.
Little detectives. We've got to do it. But I do think, I have a feeling, I don't have any intel. I do have a feeling we are going to get a tour announcement, and there is going to be more to this MasterCard partnership than just this Abracadabra moment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad we're getting like album release parties or listening parties where she's going to be inviting fans and stuff. I think it sounds basically, I'm just assuming it's going to be like a Mayhem version of the London Harlequin event.
Yes. Yes.
But one in LA and one in New York. Sounds like it's going to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting times.
I know. Wow. Like, it's just, again, it's like the experience. Like, she's never done like listening parties before, like this past year, right? Or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think she has.
She did like,
well, other than like the art rave.
Yeah, she's done events here and there. I remember she did like some Born This Way ones. She did a really small Born This Way one in like France or something. I just remember seeing the photos from it. She's done like bits and pieces, but I think the London event is like quite unique, like you say. Like she hasn't done a lot of things like that before. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite of the current album covers that we have? Like the multiple?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I really like them all, to be honest, but I think there's one that really reminds me of that Harper's Bazaar shoot from the art pop era, where she's got like the art pop photo I'm thinking of. She's got that like pink kind of outfit, and then they cut the skirt shorter. I don't know if you remember that. But
I quite literally have that magazine in my closet, and I don't recall the photo.
Okay, I'll find a picture of it. But I like that there's a cover that just reminds me of that, where she's got like long hair, and you kind of see, I think she's like got her head up like this.
Oh yes, that's like the Japanese CD like cover. Yes,
I like that just because it gave me the art pop vibes. I think generally I like the standard edition. I like the web exclusive ones where it's like her eye and then the other thing is upside down.
Yes,
and they're the vinyls she's signing.
Oh yeah, I do like that too. Yes.
Yeah, I like that one. I like the one where it's split with her eye in the middle. But I do like them all. What about you?
I like the Amazon Music one where it kind of gives me like the Evanescence album cover from like back in the day.
Yes.
Where it's just her standing, and the bottom, like the like lower third is like split.
Yes.
And it's just like the like headshot.
Yeah.
I like that one the most right now, just because it gives me 90s grunge a little bit too. And which I think this is what this album is really like hinting on.
I just love that she's like, we've got so many different visuals and stuff already.
I know. Do you think that all the different like bonus tracks are going to be different songs, or do you think it's going to be the same bonus track across all the media?
That's a good question. My gut is saying it'll be the same, but that's only because like she doesn't normally.
Because of history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then this is also new for her to give us like multiple album covers, so it's hard to kind of say, isn't it? Because there's so much different and new about this era that she might surprise us. Even just like the concept of bonus tracks is so interesting, because I feel like, I was going to say they're usually not as impressive as the main album tracks for me, but then I remembered about Born This Way, and I think
Born This Way has some incredible added tracks.
Yeah. So I won't say that, because I think Born This Way actually was really good. I think
the Fame has some really good ones too.
Yeah. I think her bonus tracks work the best when they do feel like they fit the general narrative of the album. So like Chromatica obviously had Love Me Right, which is a nice song, but for me, like, I'm not that affected by having it or not having it, because it just doesn't, like, as you say, the overall Chromatica experience for me isn't enhanced by that song necessarily.
Totally. I don't think it really fits anywhere on the album. I'm glad that it's a bonus track.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm only really excited for the bonus tracks, if they're going to kind of feel like they fit in that storyline.
Well, you know what's interesting to me is that it's Die With a Smile is the last track across everything, and so that bonus track is the second to last track on everything. And that's where I think it's really interesting, and that's what's getting me excited, is that we're getting a little bit of like a Born This Way, like adding it into the album kind of feels. And with that, did you see that Gesaffelstein, if that's how you say it? I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly, but do you see that he's credited on 3 of the songs rather than just the one?
Oh, I didn't see that.
And one of them is Blade of Grass, which I initially thought was going to be a ballad to kind of lead us into like maybe not a ballad, but like a low key like synthy something, if it wasn't going to be a ballad to kind of lead us into Die With a Smile, something ethereal. And now I'm like, oh, okay. I wonder if she's going to like end this with a bang.
That would be so cool. Like Sign From Above kind of way to...
Exactly, yeah.
I can see it being like that, like something where you expect it to be one thing. Like when we all saw like Sign From Above featuring Elton John.
God, we were like, oh, the ballad.
I don't think any of us expected Sign From Above to sound the way it does.
We did not anticipate her giving Elton a bottle of poppers and going to the dance floor. Like, we did not anticipate that.
Literally. And then like the version of it on Dawn of Chromatica as well also just like sent me into orbit.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Like the random like tuba or like saxophone in there. I'm like, okay, work.
Oh, that's so brilliant. To be fair, you know what? With what you've said today about like the producers and stuff, actually that's made me quite excited for, and I don't normally care, but like that's made me excited for like a Mayhem remix album, because
I know
it's always kind of like the exec producer of the album is then kind of in charge of doing the remix album, right? So like that's why Dawn of Chromatica was like a blood pop project. The way the music we're getting so far from Mayhem really makes me excited for like what they're going to do with the remix album, especially if they do another Dawn of Chromatica and get like our dream collaborators from like underground kind of artists and stuff.
Totally,
that would be amazing. That would be so cool. Imagine like, I don't know, like a Chapel Roan verse on Abracadabra, or like a Doechii verse on something would be so cool. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
like,
my god, yes.
So many possibilities, I think, would just be incredible.
I really wanted Janelle Monáe to be on the Chromatica remix album, so I'd love to see that here too. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool, especially if like I always associate Janelle Monáe with like a feminist
futurism.
Kind of, well, I was going to say like feminist kind of like messaging and stuff.
Got you. Yeah. Oh, totally.
Which, you know, if my theory is correct about which song did I say it was? There was a song on there that I was like, I think this is going to be the Shizer of the album. Shadow of a Man.
Shadow of a Man.
Yeah.
How gay you gotta be to say that in unison, and the song isn't even out yet.
We see each other. So this is controversial. I would like to make an open call to Azealia Banks to say, if you're listening, if this makes its way onto your feed somehow...
Honestly, I think it might. She's been taking in all the
She's been content. Interacting with like a capital G on the end, like interacting. This is an open call to Azealia Banks. If you see this somehow, I would love to have 10 to 15 minutes of your time.
Oh my God.
Call me and let's talk about disease, because I have never felt more seen than when she made that tweet about disease being so revolutionary, because Gaga's like not afraid to be ugly, and like Azalia's take on what disease means. I was like, she thinks like me.
Also saying it's
Yeah.
just a rock song. I'm like, exactly. Like this is a rock song
Yeah.
in a pop song's body. Like, but she will never be taken seriously in a rock space. But
Yeah.
that's what Azealia's saying.
Say what you will about Azealia Banks, right? I think there's two things here. One, she has an incredible way with words, whether she's dragging somebody or whether she's making like a genuinely like thoughtful analysis of something. Her way with words is like very captivating, I think.
Totally.
So like reading her thoughts on disease has just been such a joy to kind of like,
it's been a treat.
It's been a treat. It really has, to like see someone give it that much thought, because like normally it's just us, like us girls. But
Exactly.
To see like someone established like Azealia Banks like really give the artistry so much consideration has been like you say, it's just been delicious to see that. But secondly, Azealia, whether you like her or not, has an incredible ear for music. So her opinion, whether I agree with it or not, I am genuinely interested to see what she says about things. So yeah, the way she's been like obsessed with disease is exactly how I felt. So yeah, this is my open call. Azealia, if this makes its way onto your feed, I would love 10 to 15 minutes of your time. Let's talk about disease, and let's give
That would be iconic.
It would be so iconic. Let's give it like the celebration it deserves, because I really think it's like one of the best Gaga songs in her whole discography. So I would love to discuss it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I love that "Screaming for Me, Baby" has become like a tagline. Absolutely sent me what she said about Kanye West, where it was like,
I know.
Kanye's trying to steal Gaga's moment. Screaming like, for me, baby. I live. I absolutely live for it.
She has a point.
She has a point. She really does. She absolutely does. So yeah, I just wanted to hold some space for that.
Oh my God, I need to see that happen. I'm gonna cross my fingers, like, and we need to see that happen.
I really would be intrigued to just like honestly let her talk, and I will just listen. Like that woman has some opinions that I don't know why. I just like need to hear more. I've always actually thought Azealia should start a podcast.
Oh my God, yeah.
Azealia, I feel like, would be way more entertaining than like half of these people doing podcasts, myself included. I think.
Yeah.
I would love to see that from her, just like her general opinions on music. Like,
yeah,
girl, make more money, do a podcast. Don't let Elon have your money just by like putting your thoughts on Twitter. Monetize it.
Exactly.
I could let her talk about disease forever. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to hold some space for that. So, yeah. Oh dear. Okay, final thing on the agenda for today. Tour. I've had a couple of questions about tour.
Yeah.
Do you think we're getting a tour this year? Because personally, I do.
I do as well. I think it's definitely going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be a summer tour again. But I definitely see it.
Yeah, that's my thing. I can't work out if it is or not, because I think if she wants to do stadiums, is this correct? If you want it to be a stadium tour, it has to be a summer tour. Is that the case?
Oh, is that? Oh, I guess that actually makes sense though.
Because I think otherwise it's like sports season, and then the stadiums are in use. But that might be.
Oh God, that's gonna be so much money so soon then.
My theory though is that they'll put the tickets on sale either just before or just after Coachella.
That'd be smart marketing.
Yeah, because like I really feel like this Coachella performance is going to be almost like a long form career highlight Super Bowl performance.
I know. Oh, I hope you get to hear some good deep cuts.
So do I. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
And I hope the tour has some good deep cuts.
Me too. I think she always tries to pick like a fan favorite.
I know she does.
Somewhere, doesn't she? Like
yeah.
Either that or like a unreleased song she tries to kind of pull out.
Seeing Alice into Replay into Monster. Oh my God.
That was my favorite segment of the Chromatica Ball.
Oh, of course. And Replay means a lot to me too. Like that song has a lot of messaging that really resonates with me. And
Yeah.
that moment, I was like third row, like standing, and we literally, like, when she was like taking a break for Monster, like we were locked. Like, and I was like, I can feel the energy exchange right now. Like,
Yeah.
I will never forget that, because I didn't have my phone out too. Like, I recorded
Yeah.
like the first verse and the chorus, and then I was like, I just need to remember this song.
Yeah.
And so like after that stop, and she just paused, I was like, we see each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an incredible show. But yeah, I feel like Coachella will happen. They'll put the tickets on sale either just before or just after, and use like, I think they're really
Oh
banking on
God.
that set being like a
Yeah.
viral moment, like bigger
And I
than,
think it's pretty much guaranteed now.
yeah. I mean, I'm not
Oh
saying
God,
it's going
I
to be
didn't
as
think
big
about
as
that.
like Beyonce's Coachella, but I think it's going to be, I do think it's going to be major.
But we saw what like Coachella did for like Chapel
Yeah,
just so recently.
exactly.
Like, I think that this has the potential to also be a huge. And also, we never even talked about too, her like album cuts randomly getting so much of a boost,
Yeah.
like because of like this success right now, and people talking about like, her nachos, and like like Venus having, like, first of all, love that, but like Venus having such a big day, and like I think it was like Shiza maybe had like a little bit of like a bump.
I saw So
Like,
Happy I Could Die had an increase.
oh my God,
Yeah.
if she could bring that out, oh my God.
So Happy I Could Die at the Monster Ball is in my top 5 of like her tour performances, because the way they did the instrumentation with the harp lives
it's
in my
so
mind. That's my Roman
good.
Empire. I'm not even joking.
Yes,
I
and her
think about it.
harmonies.
Yeah. I think about
Yeah,
that like every
so
couple
good.
of weeks, that harp from the Monster Ball in the
And
So
that
Happy I Could Die
outfit.
performance, the outfit, the wings,
Oh,
like
yes.
10 out of
So cool.
10. Again, like so much of Gaga's music being about like escapism and fantasy,
Hmm.
that moment where she's in the living dress and she puts the wings up and the harp is
Hmm.
playing and she's like ascending, that for me is like the epitome of Gaga. Just,
Yeah, and that song is just so gay too. So
yeah. I love these space. If I could pick anything, so like I know she's giving fans like everything they want this era. If I could,
literally.
if I could sit her down and say like this is my personal wish, I would say, can you make more songs that sound like So Happy I Could Die and art pop, where it sounds a bit spacey and it almost sounds a bit like you're on a substance of some
Totally.
kind,
Totally.
but you're completely sober and what you're experiencing is just like trippy music. It's not actually that you have taken something, but it feels that way because it's like all these spacey sounds. Like, that's my favorite kind of music
Yeah.
outside of Gaga. And I feel like
Yeah.
the only songs she's done like that have really been like art pop and So Happy I Could Die. But I would love her to go more
Totally.
into that space.
Like more ambient. I totally agree. Which I think we're gonna get, because she talked about like how a lot of the songs have like an ethereal quality, and I think we
Mm,
are gonna get that. But I think that also could present like the bridge. Oh my God. Okay, we've been talking for so long, but we didn't even talk about the bridge of Abracadabra. Oh my God. Oh my God. The first of all, the fact that we just got a bridge,
yeah.
and the fact that it's this. Okay, I fear we literally cannot talk about this. We've been talking for so long, but I just want everyone
This
to
episode's
know,
about to be like 5 hours long.
literally, I just need everyone to know that the Bridge of Abracadabra is like already like, it's in like Gaga canon as like top tier stuff
Yeah.
already.
I tell you what, I know I said it took me a couple of days to like fully embrace Abracadabra.
Mm-hmm.
The bridge was the one part of the song I connected with instantly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
exactly like you
So
say,
good.
it just felt like perfection. Like, like she's just nailing it. She's just hitting every point this era, I feel.
Yep. Oh, and we haven't even got into like the meaning of the song or the video. Like, I fear we cannot. I fear we cannot. But because we'd be sitting here for so long. But like, just like the reference of like being your own inner demon, and coming out on the other side stronger. And I mean, I still think this is still like a dancing through the pain type,
I agree.
song. And
I
I think
agree.
that's getting lost on some people. And I've seen some people dissing that like, they're like, oh well, we're not in like a dancing through the pain era so far, and I'm like, I feel like that's so far from the truth. I feel like we're still continuing
I feel
that with
like
both
that
of
is,
these songs.
yeah, I feel like we said earlier, that is the narrative of like the majority of Gaga's discography is like dancing through
Totally,
the pain.
totally, totally.
even like Marry the Night, think of that. That's literally about like embracing your darkness. She's been consistent with this message. I'd say anyone who is thinking that this era is different or is deviating from that is yeah, misinformed, I would say.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, my lights
Oh,
turned off. Oh, she's
oh
out
my
of
God,
battery.
abracadabra. Oh my
Abracadabra.
God, a spell. You just got cursed.
It's
I was
okay.
literally like, we literally just got cursed in the middle of.
It was
There
Patricia.
was a spell.
Patricia sent a
Oh,
swarm of flies.
she's somewhere living a life of deep regret.
I'm just gonna get like a swarm of flies entering the room in a
Oh my
minute.
God, no! You're gonna start drinking water and you're gonna start feeling drunk on prop wine.
This podcast is truly for the girls. Can I just say, like, these niche references, thank you. Thank you. Where were we? We were talking about the meaning of abracadabra. I think you are absolutely right. It's the dancing through the pain message. I've made some notes, and I think I already kind of ran through these when I did my reaction video for Abracadabra, but I really do think there is more to this, like the harsh difference between the dancers in Gaga being in all white, and then you have all black and red, Lady in Red, and then all the like backups of the Lady in Red character, or I think we're all calling that character Mayhem now, right?
Did she say that? Because I saw someone said that she said that, but I haven't been able to find where she said that.
I think there might have been like a TikTok comment that alluded to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if she's really explicitly said it in like an interview or anything yet. But
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
Okay.
I feel like there's been a TikTok comment or something she said somewhere that makes it sound like the character is called Mayhem. But yeah, so I think there's something in that like stark difference between like the purity of like the all white character and then yeah the red. I wrote down I think initially like those two splits being like heaven and hell, good and evil, Lady and Gaga even. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot in there. So I think also I've already spoken about this before, but like the what the character was doing in the Disease video, where I felt like she was splitting Gaga in half
Yes.
over and
Yes.
over again. Like it still feels like that's present here, um, and I think that I would say this is a continuation of the Disease video, because obviously like in Disease we saw the character going after Gaga and trying to kill her, and then it looks like she might have succeeded at the end. The environment of the Abracadabra video feels like we could be in like purgatory almost, and category is dance or die. The character is still trying to get Gaga to dance and embrace the darkness rather than, and that's how she has to survive. And if she doesn't, then Mayhem wins. I think I can almost see like whatever the next music video we get is being a
Yep.
trilogy of this story. I think
Ugh.
again, Gaga giving us everything we want this era. I think she knows we wanted that Telephone Part 2 so bad, so we could have a
Yeah.
music video trilogy with Paparazzi, Telephone, and then a third part. I think we're finally getting that this time, because we've got Disease as Part 1, Abracadabra Part 2, and then I guess Vanish Into You, Speculation,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Part 3. That's my theory.
I have the same theory, and I agree.
Yeah, so smart. I really hope that's what it's leading up to.
Well, my question too is I wonder if this video is a prequel or a sequel, because obviously like the Mayhem character does seem much more like she is still stilted, but also like appearance wise she is like clearly healed a little bit from
Yeah,
like the Diseased video. So
yeah.
maybe that also has to deal with like healing the darker side of herself now that I'm like kind of talking it out. So maybe it is a sequel rather than a prequel, but there's clearly something here where she is like physically, appearance wise at least, like more normalized than in the
Yeah,
Disease video.
yeah. That's so interesting. I hadn't considered that. She's like so damaged, isn't she, in the Disease video? Like
And
scarred
in this
up.
video, she's still stilted with like the way she's moving, and honestly, like some of it came across like a little mocking the way
Yeah.
she was like moving her body. But I wonder where this like what's gonna happen. I wonder if there's gonna be like another embrace, kind of like the Disease video, but maybe ending in like a partnership or a unionship rather than like a separation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think it's almost like what's coming back for me here is Chromatica again. My biggest enemy
Mm-hmm.
is me being the obvious one, but also Babylon, like Battle for Your Life. Like it's really giving that. I think there's something, yeah, between like fighting yourself, being in a fight with yourself, and then like you say, like who wins? Is it like the dark side of yourself, or do you just learn to work with that instead of working against
Mm-hmm.
it? Um, yeah, there's so much here. I think,
Yeah, it's very nuanced, which is what we like, which is clearly why we're here
yeah.
and why we've been talking for like an hour and a half now.
It's fine. I think people like it.
People can't say we're not interested.
Well, there you go. We're just very very interested in the source material.
I know. Yeah, we are.
So long that literally my lights have run out of battery.
Literally. My favorite thing in this song are those like plunging staccato acid techno like that kind of like raises through the song.
Yeah,
It like, and I will say too, my most exciting thing about Disease is I was like, in my personal opinion, Disease is 101 BPM. Again, I literally love Disease with my entire being, but I was like, I'm so excited for like some faster, like more like manic songs.
yeah.
And Abracadabra is 127 BPM. So I'm feeling fed, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling ready to party.
You know what I also love is that we're getting longer songs this era.
Oh my god,
I'm
yeah.
so
Oh my god.
glad.
Well, and again, this bridge being so good, I'm so excited for like, and like these lyrics being so good. Oh, we're eating so good.
We are. But it's like we said already, I really feel like this is going to be the best music of her career. I think
Totally.
that's
I
what she
mean,
wants to give us.
it's shaping up to be that way.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, let me go to some questions. So, Lady Gaga fan 2006 has asked, I would like
2006. Okay.
2006. I mean, maybe that's the
Oh
year they were
god, do you think that
born.
means they're born in 2006?
I forget people are a lot younger than us.
Oh my god. That's actually okay.
They said, I want to see you talk about tour. So we did talk about tour a little bit, but I've
We
also
did.
had a question from Chris saying, what are your tour predictions, prices, stadiums versus arenas, set list? I need to hear all of your thoughts. I think that's the only question we had about tour. So I know we already spoke about the tour a little bit. Prices we didn't talk about. I could see them being a bit more than Chromatica Ball, probably.
Which hurts my heart because I think literally, I think my spot in was it like near like $600 was like the pit,
Yeah.
like an early entry. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But she's like literally smashing right now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a battle to get tickets this time around. I really
Mm-hmm.
do, and I think annoyingly we want the best prices possible, but they know the demand is there, so I don't see Live Nation just being like, yeah, charge 50 quid for some tickets. Like I can see
Right.
Live Nation being like, no, you are making some money this time.
Yeah.
Especially, and again, I know we always say this, but especially if this is going to be like her last tour before she has
Yeah.
kids, like of course she's going to go big. Yeah, I feel like we need to be saving up for this one is my
Yep.
prediction.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think I just have a feeling it's stadiums. I really do. And I think
I don't think she'd go down to arenas from doing stadiums,
I don't think
unfortunately. I mean, I
so.
would love that, but I don't think it's possible.
I think what she might do is do like a full stadium tour, but I really think she's trying to give us more intimate moments like for the core fans
Mm-hmm.
in the promotional cycle. So things like the listening parties and I think
Mm-hmm.
these like small pop-up performances and things like that. I think she
Mm-hmm.
knows that like the core fans are hungry for that interaction like you said. But the tour is going to be a big moment and like I think probably performing in stadiums last time was part of the reason why she had so much fun on the Chromatica Ball. And again, it works for her. It means, you know, her look at her art rave schedule, how she was like packed out doing all over the world, date after date, show after show, country after country. Like I don't think she enjoys working that way. I think having the Chromatica schedule worked so much better for her. So I can see that being replicated this time around.
I think also everyone needs to keep in mind that her health and like that she needs to have things spaced out.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can see she clearly is in the best like physical shape in terms of like her fibromyalgia in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And clearly that's because she's been taking care of herself and making sure that she's doing the correct processes to like make sure that she's all good. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think in my opinion too, she's just doing what she can to make sure that she can give it her all while staying safe at the same time, which I think is important.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, that's what they're considering. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few Vegas moments as well.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think when we're really going to see Vegas re-pop up again is when she does have children.
I agree.
And I think she's gonna pause like for a while, and I think her kind of ease back into it will be Vegas, because then she can stay in one place and still be performing.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Setlist, we also got asked about. I did talk about setlist a little bit. I think in my last episode I did with Kristen and Jakara, we talked about setlist a bit. But let's talk about it again now that we've obviously heard Abracadabra. I think without a doubt, Abracadabra is going to be a big moment in the show. Now that it's gone so successful, so viral, I could see Abracadabra being like the encore. I could even see it being the opening song. I just see it being at quite like a pivotal moment.
I didn't even think about that.
Because it makes sense, right, to open the tour with like casting a spell. I feel could be quite a cool way to open it.
I love that concept. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I could.
Oh, and
see
you
that.
know her shows. She's be like, we're gonna cast a spell to make sure you all have a good night. Or
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like she's gonna have her little thing.
Everybody on your feet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yes, that too.
Yeah, I see Abracadabra being a huge moment in the show. I really hope, even though Disease hasn't like blown up, I really hope we do get Disease and we get like I would love album tracks.
Disease. Come on.
I think so. You know what? This is something that would be really interesting to talk with you about actually. How do you feel about like the way tour set lists are going in terms of album tracks versus singles? So obviously I think Renaissance Tour, she performed nearly the entire album and then a couple of like big songs as well. Obviously Sweat Tour had like so much of Brat and like not tons and tons and tons of like other Charlie eras. Do you think, and I'd even say like Sabrina Short and Sweet, like it's very much about the current album. And I think in the past, like a lot of tours would probably focus on like the singles of that album and then like maybe a couple of album tracks, but would be still quite like a greatest hits moment. I see tours moving now towards like being invested in that specific era that the album is for, not so much about like an overall career kind of highlights with the latest singles and a couple of songs peppered in. I think it really is like fully around the album, and like she performed so much of Chromatica as well on that tour. I could see us getting a lot of Mayhem album tracks on the set list personally.
Oh yeah. Well, I think she's always been very good at like doing album tracks. I mean, like even like Born This Way is a long album, and we got like on the Born This Way Ball tour, we got a majority of that. I mean, there's not many songs that she's never really performed live on tour. Like I'm sure like, but it's like I'm thinking like the Fame tracks, but I think most of the Fame got performed on like the Fame tour.
Or the Monster Ball, yeah.
Yeah.
Even like the Monster Ball, she was doing Money Honey, she did the Fame, she did Boys Boys Boys.
I've always felt she's been pretty good at doing like album tracks. I think with Coachella we're gonna see a little bit of a difference. I don't know if we're gonna get a lot of like album tracks. I mean, my favorite thing about the 2017 Coachella was we got like art pop tracks, we got like the Fame Monster album tracks. So I think we might see that again. But I think, just like you're saying too, I think we might actually get more Mayhem album tracks in this Coachella set, because I think that the general like consensus with artists right now is like, we're going to make sure we're focusing on this album. But I think Gaga's been always very good at that.
I agree. I definitely think there is more of like music marketing, I think, is becoming more about the era of an album lately compared to like, it's like before it was like known as a comeback, right? It would be like, oh, this is Beyonce's comeback or this is Gaga's comeback. But now it feels more like, no, this is an era. We want to credit Taylor Swift for that or not. It's, you know, I personally don't, but
I'm not going to say anything. Uh, what I have something controversial to say then.
Go on.
I hope that she kind of reinvents some of the older songs for this tour.
Yeah.
I think like with like Art Rave, like the telephone mix that was on the Art Rave is
Yeah.
not the album version of that song,
Mm-hmm.
but and like the intro to Just Dance on Chromatica Ball is different. But
Yeah.
I really hope for this era she kind of like mayhemifies some of these older songs and kind of gives them more of like an industrial techno feel to kind of match this album because I
That would be
feel like
amazing.
sometimes where like with Chromatica, I was like, there's clearly like you could make Just Dance into like a 90s dance house song. Like it's so clear the way we could be taking this. And I
Mm.
felt that was my one complaint with Chromatica, as I was like, if we're gonna start out with 3 hits, can we try to maybe like chromaticify them a little bit and kind of make them feel a
Mm.
little new? And
Yeah.
I really hope with this, like these upcoming live shows, that she kind of alters them a little bit and makes them a little more like mayhem adjacent.
Yeah. I think
If I could
that would
ask for
be a
one thing.
dream. Yeah. That'd
Yeah.
be amazing. I would love if she does that. Let's
Yeah.
hope they see this then.
And also my thing too is Abracadabra is all about manifestation as far as I'm concerned. What is a spell
Yes.
if not manifestation?
Yeah, you're so
Changing,
right.
like building things with your words, like changing your future with words.
Yeah.
What is a spell if not manifestation? Which is what I think Abracadabra is.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're definitely right. Okay, what other questions have we got? This is from Gaga Honey. Do you think she will drop a promo single a week before the album or a single and video along with the album? I could see it being on release day, personally.
Yes. Did she drop Sour Candy early in the morning on Thursday when it was dropping at midnight on
Yeah,
Friday?
it was. Yeah, I think so. I remember
I
we
don't
had Sour Candy to
think
listen to for like a day and then the full album came.
yes.
I think you're
I
right.
don't think we're gonna get new video proper single. I think we're gonna get a promo
Mm,
single,
yeah.
personally. What do you think?
I think Abracadabra is probably
It's smashing.
changed. I think Abracadabra's
Yeah.
really changed their plans. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're realizing. I think they had this vision of Joker 2's success bringing Mayhem to like
Mm-hmm.
new heights. That didn't work. Then Disease like was a great song, but obviously didn't smash. So then I think they thought,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's manage our expectations. We're probably not going
Mm-hmm.
to have like a viral hit. Die with a Smile is doing really well, so let's just be happy that we've got that.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Abracadabra is now smashing. I think the way the label is probably looking at Mayhem right now is in like, okay, how do we make this Brat?
Yeah.
How do we make
Totally.
how do we make this the rise and fall of a Midwest princess? Like how do we emulate that? How do we make this short and sweet? Like how do we get this as an overall era to be performing in the way and having like the impact not just across one or two songs but across the entire album package the way
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing with other albums. So I think Abracadabra is really like probably making them reevaluate how much power there is in the
Yeah.
music. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do go like fully behind it. I think they're going to go big now. I think Abracadabra has just shown like trust Gaga. She knows what she's doing. And if it resonates with people, it's going to do really well. So I think they're probably going to. I think they're going to push for it to be as big as it can be.
Oh, how exciting!
So exciting. I mean, it's all good for us, right? Because then it just means we get more. You know, they're going to be putting her to do more performances and public appearances and whatever else.
That is the one thing we're missing right now is like Disease and Abracadabra studio version live performances.
Yes.
I think that is the one key thing that we're missing right now, which
Yeah.
I don't think is out of the cards. I think it's very much going to happen soon.
I agree. I think so. I think there will be. I think I can see her doing more of like a promo cycle in March, like when the album's out, like doing more like talk shows and performances, like TV stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously like later in the year we'll have like award season. Like I don't know if she'll do the VMAs maybe or
Oh, because this honestly, again, with this video being such like everyone talking about like her reheating her own nachos, that is the VMAs can slide right in there and be like, we're
Yes.
doing like the vanguard, like we're regarding her old stuff and like how she's embracing her old stuff. There's a clear marketing strategy there.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're banking on like how reminiscent this is of like old Gaga, whatever you want to call it, but they know that it's powerful It really has a lot of potential. So I think, yeah, I agree. I think they're going to go as big as they can. A question from Bryce. Can you rank the track titles off of Mayhem just based off the names? And then when the album comes out, re-rank them. Okay.
Oh my God, I don't even have the track names in front of me.
I've got them. I'll read them out. So we've got Disease, Abracadabra, Garden of Eden, Perfect Celebrity, Vanish Into You, Killer, Zombie Boy, Love Drug, How Bad Do You Want Me, Don't Call Tonight, Shadow of a Man, The Beast, Blade of Grass, and Die With a Smile. I think we'll be here a long time if we're going to rank all of these, but maybe let's both do like a top three. I'd say my top three would be Perfect Celebrity. I'm really intrigued by that. Shadow of a Man, because I already said I think it's going to be the like feminist anthem on Mayhem. And then I'm going to also say How Bad Do You Want Me, because
I love that one. Sounds so good.
Yeah, I like slutty songs, so I think that's going to be a slutty song.
I know. Honestly, I was like, when Sour Candy came out, I was like, oh, we're getting like escapist, like actually like sexy, like fun. Like she hasn't done this in like so long, and I think that's going to come back, and I'm so excited. Yeah. I will say, you just reading that back out to me, the thing that jumped out first was like The Beast. What a cool song name. Yeah. And oh God, that has the potential to be a banger. Like, wow.
And it's right near the end of the album as well, so I feel like she's going to close out the album with a bang.
Blade of Grass was one that I think I got a little bit of the sign from above effect, where I was like, we're going to have the power ballad to close us out. And I think now that I know that we have some electronic production on it just before we've even heard it, like knowing that, I'm really wondering what that's going to sound like.
Yeah. I'm so intrigued.
And with that too, I'm not saying that I know what any of these songs may sound like if they haven't been officially teased. And I'm not saying Garden of Eden sounds like a song that I might like if I have ever heard anything that, Anyways, I've not heard this song yet. I think I will like it a lot if the idea that I have of it in my mind sounds like how it will sound on the album.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good one as well. Io, my friend Io, has asked significance of the Oscar Gaga cross necklace. Oh, we did talk about that a little bit.
We did.
Designers you think she'll reach for this era, and your take on what the fashion is trying to say so far, and then also whether we may get a short film and lyrical themes. So I guess whether on the short film point, I guess we already talked a little bit about potentially getting a music video trilogy. I think I could see the third video maybe being more of a short film to kind of tie that trilogy up. But either way, I
would love some more than just the actual song, which we did get with Abracadabra with the extended scene, but I would love more of that too.
And Disease with like the car, like when she's like listening to Zombie.
Oh, that song sounds so good too. Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited for that as well. I would love a short film. I don't know if we necessarily will get one, just because I really think all the videos are connected, and I think all of them together becomes the short film, is my theory, but we'll see. Designers you think she'll reach for this era, and your take on what the fashion is trying to say so far. I'm loving that she's wearing some smaller designers and like emerging designers. It's nice. It's really nice to see that. I think she's always done that. I also am obsessed with the fact that so many of the dancers' outfits on the Abracadabra video are like Gaga's personal archive and like dead stock fabrics.
I know. Yeah, I love that.
I love that she's looking at like ways just within her own kind of control that she can reduce environmental impact without it being like preachy and annoying. Do you know what I mean? Like, coming from me, I am somebody who is preachy and annoying, and I do respond to that. But like, I love that she's just, as always, the same way with like the COVID fundraiser. It's not I'm going to tell everyone else to donate or everyone else has to do what they're doing, but I'm just going to like set a good example in my own. So I loved that she did that. I think we're going to see some really experimental kind of stuff in terms of what the fashion's saying so far. I think we spoke a little bit about like the significance of being like all white in the Abracadabra video. She's mentioned like the baby doll dresses she's really enjoyed wearing.
Yes,
they're adorable.
So cute.
I think she's just doing what feels powerful for her, and sometimes that is leaning more into femininity, and sometimes it leads more into like theatre and like whimsicality. I think we're really just going to see like everything that we love about Gaga through the fashion this time.
Totally.
And then also lyrical themes. I think we've talked about this a little bit, haven't we?
We have.
I think, yeah, just continuing that narrative of like fantasy and reality, I think is going to be really strong on Mayhem.
Totally.
And then final question from Abracadabra. Sorry.
Yep. No, don't apologize.
Any theories on Vanish Into You would be interesting, and you can reflect on them when the album is released. Yeah, Vanish Into You, I'm really intrigued to hear. I think just the title alone, and if it wasn't, well, no, not even if it wasn't Gaga, but the title alone makes it sound like it could be a love song. But I think,
yes,
from the visuals so far, I actually think it's going to be more along that theme of like the battle between yourself and your demons and like the darker parts of yourself. I wonder if it's almost like a reintegration between like good and evil, Lady and Gaga, Mayhem and Stephanie, whatever you want to call it. Like, I think Vanish Into You could really be more along those lines rather than like a bad romance, like, oh, I love you so much I could vanish into you. Like, I think it's probably more about that, but that's just speculation, obviously. I've got no tea.
Well, I think also like with Disease, a song about somebody else and the video is actually like a message to yourself. I think that could lend itself very perfectly into a third single and a third part of a trilogy, just like you were saying.
You're so right, actually. I think Gaga does that a lot, doesn't she? Like, her songs might sound on the surface like they're talking about one thing, and then you really kind of deep the lyrics and you think about it a bit more, and then you get the visuals and you realize actually there's like triple meanings in the lyrics. Yeah, you're right. I could see it being like on the surface maybe like a love song, but actually more about that relationship when you kind of analyze it a bit deeper. Those are all our questions for today. Thanks for sending them in, guys. This is fun. Always happy to talk about whatever you guys want to hear. So thank you for sending those in. Billy, anything else you want to round off with that we didn't get to talk about?
I just want to say you are so lovely, and I'm so glad that like we got to like talk. Like, wow, how cool. Just like, you're awesome. Thank you. I adore you, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure, but
we absolutely will. We absolutely will. And listen, like I said it when I had Kristen and Jakara on the podcast, but like having people like you online who are so positive just makes the internet like a really great place to be on. And you know, people like you are partially responsible for my social media addiction, because it is just like dopamine and like serotonin, like getting to talk to you. And like today has been great. I think it's incredible when you really think about how like us interacting and like chatting for a few hours has happened because of Lady Gaga, and like we're opposite sides of the world, and yet, you know, I feel like if I was in North Carolina, I'd be able to just go out and have a great time with you, and we could go to a bar and like have an amazing time. Do you know what I mean? Like I see this happening for us one day, but for now, like
I do too.
These internet chats are just, they'll do for now. But like it's just so nice to be able to chit chat, and we see each other. Before I let you go, I have to ask what track you're claiming. Obviously, this is the first time I've asked any podcast guest now that we actually have track titles.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Yeah.
So previously, I was going to say either track 3, no, not track 3, track 4 or 5, because I feel like those are always really good. My lucky number is 4, so I was leaning towards 4. What's 4 on the track list? Do you have it in front of you?
Track 4 is Perfect Celebrity.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited. What's track 5? Just out of curiosity.
Track 5 is Vanish Into You.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with track 4 because it's my lucky number, and then we'll see.
What I'll have to do, and what I'm gonna plan on doing, is just gonna like, once the album is out, I will do an episode. Obviously, I know this podcast is about counting down to LG7, but I am gonna do another episode or two post album release, so we can all process it together. But I'm definitely going to be asking like all of my previous guests to send in some thoughts on like the tracks they claimed, and their feelings on the album. So I'll definitely make sure we get to hear from you once we listen to Perfect Celebrity. But yeah, amazing. Billy, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
It's been so nice. I feel like all of my guests have brought like something different to the show, and I feel like what you've brought is that like really musical analysis and that viewpoint that I haven't really kind of explored that much yet. So it's been really nice to get like a fresh perspective on the music from having you joining me today.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Just it's been a joy to talk to you. Like it's been like we've been recording for like an hour and 45 minutes. It's gone like
Literally.
this.
Literally.
It's felt like no time has gone at all. I'm just really really happy to have you on this week, and thank you so much for your time and your thoughts and
Of
being
course.
so brilliant. So thank you.
Well, you know I'm obsessed with you, and we'll talk later.
Yes, we will. Guys, thank you for listening. Happy Super Bowl Sunday to those who celebrate. I'm actually genuinely quite excited for Kendrick Lamar's performance. I feel like he'll do something quite cool. I think we'll get something quite cool from him. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Best wishes. Mwah! And kisses. And I'll see you next time.